Hi everyone, Tori here with another scrapbooking process video. I hope you're having a lovely International Scrapbooking Day. I am, and I have another video for you today. The one before this, I posted about the challenge that I'm hosting over at the Studio Calico message boards. And the challenge is to create a layout with 3 or more photos. And I thought it would be sort of fun if I created another layout following that challenge just to give you a little bit more inspiration. So I hope you find this layout inspiring and fun. And I'm really excited to share it with you because it has lots of fun layering. I'm using lots of stuff from the kit and from my stash, and the photos that I'm scrapbooking are really precious to me and are really great. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. If you're wondering about the challenge, I'll link the challenge up for you in the description below. You have until May 4th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to participate for a chance to win an awesome prize from Studio Calico. So, a little bit about what I'm doing here on this layout. I have these 3 photos from my trip out west with my mom, and I really wanted to scrap them on one layout because partway during a trip we had a couple days off, and so we decided to stay at this really beautiful resort on our way to Edmonton, and we ended up following the path to this like crazy in the middle of nowhere kind of location, but it was the most amazing place I've ever been in my entire life. It was so gorgeous. And when I say it's in the middle of the nowhere, like I legit mean it's in the middle of nowhere, because you drive and you drive and you drive, and then you get on a little ferry. And by ferry, I mean literally just a plank of wood that like 2 cars fit on, and cross over into this like little wooded area. And then you drive for like what seems like forever, and you legitimately think that you are going to your death because you're driving on a dirt road in the middle of a forest and there's no other cars, nobody around, and you're like, where am I going? But then we entered this valley, and in this valley there was like these wooden log cabins, and there was a lake, and it was just the most amazing, beautiful place I've ever been before. And the cabins were really sweet, and my mom and I had a great time. We were only there for like 24, 30 hours, like not even a whole couple of days, but it was so much fun. And I'm gonna have more photos about our time there, but the journey to get there was like just as important as the photos of the place there. So I wanted to make a layout about the journey to get there and the photos to get there. So the top 2 photos are photos that were taken on that little wooden plank ferry that only 2 cars fit on. And then the bottom photos are photos of the wooden cabin that we arrived to see and the dirt road that we're driving along. So I'm going to scrap 4, and I decided I wanted to do like a grid layout with 4 clusters on the page. So I wanted to do a whole bunch of layers under each photo, and then I wanted to do some embellishment and also some hidden journaling. Because I knew there wouldn't really be a lot of space on the layout to do journaling, so in the end I'm going to just stick a tag that's hidden, but I'll show you that when I get to there. So, what am I doing? Well, first I started with this beautiful blue like daisy paper that came in the Lise Street scrapbook kit from Studio Calico for April, and I matted that on some white paper. Then I placed the photos where I wanted, and I literally am just going through my stash, pulling out things that I want to layer behind there. And when I know that the layer looks right, I just add a little staple using my Tim Holtz tiny attacher just to keep it in place, and then stick that. So some of the things I've used here, I started by using a gassine bag, and I just folded that in half and stuck that under one of the photos. I grabbed a doily. I've grabbed a bunch of tags that are under the top left-hand photo. I also grabbed some die cuts and placed those under a couple photos. Then I grabbed some envelopes because I had some just envelopes that had come in previous kits or that people had sent me, and stuck those in one of the layers. Some of the layers have a vellum. I grabbed some chipboard, or not chipboard, I grabbed some craft cardstock and placed that under one of the photos. Some vellum. I'm using gold vellum now. And this vellum, I've had it in my stash for a while. I think it came in a Studio Calico kit and had these gold circles on it. So I didn't want to use the whole piece of it for that photo because I had already used a piece for the top right-hand photo. So I just cut out some circles, and I'm going to layer that under that bottom left-hand one. What else did I grab? Oh, I also went through just some scrap pieces of cardstock and stuck those in there. I had this pink and red polka dot vellum, just stuck a piece under there. Some more tags. That a door is like a ticket tag that I stuck. I'm going to stick down. I have lots of different pattern vellum, so I'm just using little scripts and scraps of it to place places. Now, this is such a fun layout to create if you want to use up your stash, because it creates like an awesome opportunity for you to just layer and layer and layer and have fun just layering up a whole bunch of different things. So I'm sorry I can't really tell you more about it, but basically I'm just layering. And the rule of thumb, if you're making a layout like this where you want to do a whole bunch of layering, is just keep layering. Layer, 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 layer. And if it doesn't look right, it's probably because there's not enough layers. So add some more. I don't know if that's true, but that's my rule of thumb when I'm doing it. And I am just sticking them all over the place. And the other fun thing to do when you're doing layers is to use like different types of paper, different types of things, because it'll create a more dimensional look, because all the different layers will like stand out and pop better. Like if I had just used paper, it might not pop as much as if I add doilies and tags and vellum and die cuts and things like that in there as well. So it was about this point that I felt sort of happy with what my layers look like. So I pick up my layers carefully and just add a little bit of a staple in them just to help them stay in place. And then I'm just placing my photos on. That one layer I just wanted a little more paper. And then I'm just using a stapler. Most of the staples will be hidden. But I feel like the stapler just keeps everything in place where I want it to stay. Then I'm going to stick down my photos. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to say that's really fun about the stapler is if you just place one staple in the middle, it leaves your layers sort of free still, so that if you do end up wanting to layer anything else in there, you can, and there is space to fit it in between. I don't think I really add that many more layers in. I mostly just embellish now. But when you see me add my journaling, you'll see that it's a good thing that I just added a staple and not a ton of adhesive. But I'll explain that when I get there. That's basically it. So I hope you guys are having a fun International Scrapbooking Day. I am probably going to be hanging out, not out. Oh my gosh, what was that? Like the Canadian Mountie in me is coming out. Hanging out. I'm going to be hanging out at the Studio Calico message boards, playing along with their challenges. I think Big Pictures also says they might have some challenges or something fun, so I'll probably be hanging out there too. And I'll be answering your comments on YouTube, so if you leave me a comment, I'll answer, because today is a perfect day to answer, and I have the whole day off to just scrapbook and have fun. Well, not the whole day. In the morning I have Bible study at a ridiculous early time, but after that I'll be scrapbooking the rest of the day. So around 10 o'clock I'll be done Bible study, which gives you an indication of what time we start, and then I'll be able to scrapbook. So yeah. Okay, now what am I doing? I am adding some gold sparkly hearts to the layout, which came in the kit this month. I also added a label, and I wanted to just add those hearts on with a staple, so I just stapled through them. I'm looking at the layout going, I want a little bit more texture and color on it. What else can I add? So I decided to grab some flare, and I'm using some just gray flare because I don't want it to be too take away from anything really. So I'm going to use one at the top corner and two at the bottom. And these are faux flare that I made using an epoxy sticker, and I learned that from Adele at Inky Quill. Next, I wanted to add some flowers, so I grabbed some of my resin flowers, which I absolutely love resin flowers. I'm like getting low, and I really hope that I can purchase some new ones soon because I just love resin flowers. Next, I decided to add my journaling, and I wanted to just add my journaling on just a simple tag. So I just grab a black pen and just add a little bit of journaling about the trip. I cut ahead, and then I'm going to stick that in the pocket that is in that layer. But first I want to add some satin ribbon. So I'm just going to tie a little bit of ribbon on that tag. The first time I didn't really get it right, so I take it out and do it again. You know, it's something about like stage fright when you're on camera, you can't do anything right. So, but I got it right the second time. And then I just trimmed up the satin edges a little bit because they were long. And I'm just going to stick that in the tag. Now, it was sticking out a little bit too much for my like, so I'm going to try to get that in the pocket. Now, the problem is that I stuck a staple right through the pocket, so it doesn't go any lower. See, I told you I had a problem. So what I end up doing is just using my scissor to try to pry or pop up that staple. And then I end up just pulling that section off of the cardstock so that I can try to get my fingers in there. And that ends up working. I just take the staple out and re-glue it down, and just make sure all the other layers are stuck down well enough. And then I can stick my little tag and journaling down. And I love the way that it looks. It actually, like, you can't really tell there's journaling, really. You just see a big satin bow, which I actually love because I love bows. But if you were like looking at the layout and you knew my style where I like to hide journaling and things like this, then you could like have a little Christmas surprise for yourself that there's like journaling there. And the layout is pretty much done. I'm just going to add a title. And I decided to use these black foam thickers words that came from the Amy Tan collection. I'm not sure which collection, but they do come from her. And I just add the words with you because I felt like it fit perfectly in that spot and it was small enough and it worked. And then the layout is done. Oh, I'm just going to add a little date stamp. Other than that, it's done. And thank you for joining me. I hope you have a lovely day. And I also hope that you join me for the International Scrapbooking Challenges over at Studio Calico. I've got some still photos for you. Bye. Have a lovely day.